Yo, welcome back to MTV corporate obnoxious rock nonsense. Yeah, we on the beach, we talking to people wearing bathing suits. Everyone's like, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna draw one more. I thought I was probably gonna end up finishing the final page of Door to Death last night and have to leave y'all out of the loop, and maybe that was for the better. But of course, if that's what you've already determined, then you don't have to watch this anyway. But anyway, thanks to all of you who stuck around once more. This is after this page. It's going to be other things for a while here, and yeah. But I'm gonna get back to it. If you want to know, I don't want to even start thinking about where the story progresses from here, because I just I need to put it down for a while and focus on the other artwork, which I will share with you, as I mentioned in other videos. I'd like to share just the paintings, the random abstracts, the children's book illustrations, and of course, once I start Cranberry Death Sauce again, I want to share that with y'all. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, but I will say, I after you read the issue 6, if you do, I hope you do, if you like this, I kind of got, I'm a little gleeful at the idea of a lot of monster human face-offs, a lot of action and carnage, because I think this issue has been a lot about things reaching the boiling point and the clever mechanics behind kind of gaining strength to kind of start coming out of the shadows and going against the humans. So I think, and just building up to that point has been a real fun adventure. I think a lot of the payoff when I do forthcoming comics, and when I do a page here and a page there, I'll look forward to getting into that. Zombie and monster invasions. So, okay. See, I reinstalled this new Scotch tape on my webcam yesterday, so hopefully that will help us to avoid not that irritating camera wobble. Is that gonna do it? I don't know. Sorry everybody. As usual, I'm probably not the best prepared for all this. Let's turn this off. Yeah, once again, I didn't get to finish this page last night. So here it is. I want to start with, this might be the only one I do, because this looks like a fun one. Once again, here are the characters as portrayed by my good friends. Here's my good friend Micah. Who, Micah I owe a lot to, and so Doral as well, and really all my friends who have helped me, and they get their representation in Door to Death, of course. They are tremendous talents. Micah on the production of the cheesy independent films Mossy Rock and Old Mossy Rock was just an incredible talent. How effortlessly he seemed to get everything under control. I realized after I edited the movie, he really deserved an assistant director's credit for all the extra work. He probably saved the movie a lot of difficulties. He was even the one who said, we're losing daylight, we should do these scenes first. And he was absolutely right, and probably, Lord knows, because we only had so much time and I was under so much stress from what was being done to me by just trying to do this film and getting very little support. But yeah, Micah saved the day. And he performed great. But I think that my comics, I don't know. I mean, maybe I would. I imagine I would have discovered an affordable way to do digital comics by now had I not met Micah. But I'm very glad. A lot of those people go to the conventions, and you know what ticks me? A lot of them don't want to interact with the local artists. A lot of them go there to show off their Doctor Who outfit or their Joker outfit, or in the girls' case, usually Harley Quinn. So original. And they just don't care about. They really just don't care about independent art. Yeah, I'm not going to fault them for that, but it's refreshing when you see kids who actually want to do art, not just show off the costume they bought from Amazon that like 20 other people are wearing. You don't have to be an art. There's not. I don't. Maybe I'm sorry. I know I'm sounding arrogant here, but I mean it's like there's not some rule that you have to be. You have to do art to appreciate art. Of course not. You're welcome to just be a fan. Of course, where would we be if there were just a bunch of creators and no people that just wanted to soak in the culture? But just me speaking as an independent artist at those conventions. I loved the support I got, the local support I got when people invited me to do conventions. It was a fantastic feeling. New River Valley Comic Convention, those guys were great, and of course Roanoke Valley Comic Convention. Just fantastic. The Garvey family and what they did for local artists, just outstanding. Then I'm dealing with a lot of people who. There's a lot of people who just could care less about what I was doing. I got some funny stories, but yeah. Micah came in and was talking art. He wanted to learn about it, and he was real active in it, and making a lot of cartoons already. Had some ideas for what he wanted to do, and he let me use his digital tablet, and then he gave me all the information I needed, and before too long, it was happening. And so here I am. I got the same tablet and software, Manga Studio, he recommended, and really changed my art life for sure. So anyway. And yeah, Jarrell, obviously what he's okay. They're looking down because the egg is going down into the ocean. Yeah, just how much help those guys have been for me. Yeah. So here they are in the comic, and once again, I thought this would be a fun panel to share with everybody as we get some close-up expressions. I realize I get involved and I'm doing a lot of activity in tight spaces, and it's nice to get back to just doing big expressions. It's easier for me, than action sequences. Just doing up close expressions and faces and emotions and but I'm wondering if I should change it. Here, let's show you a trick. I'm gonna highlight this with this tool, whatever that is, and let me see if I can see. Does that look a little better? What do you think? Yeah. Okay. See, it just moved it. See, you are missing something from doing there's really no replacing traditional artwork in the end, but despite this, you just can't beat. You actually want to do comics and not drain your time and your life away on it. You really can't beat digital artwork. Treat yourself to doing traditional illustration if you get the time, but just for my lifestyle, having other things going, this is just great. Right there, I would have just had to, I don't know, probably just mastered the art of using whiteout or something. People, these artists have tricks that I never learned. Once again, I'm totally self-taught, so a lot of the things, that's another reason why I'm not a very good teacher. A lot of this stuff I learned, comic creation is very unorthodox compared to how a lot of people do it. But if you create like I do, you might like the idea of just using organic flow for your stories and illustrations. It's very different from how a lot of professional, if you will, artists do it. But then maybe not so much. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I just feel like it feels like when I watch other artists creating them, uh, they usually have a much more schooled approach where I'm just kind of chaotic. You know, I mean, as I was writing this story, I didn't have a script or anything. I just started, made a page, and then thought it over where I was going to go from there. Okay, it's very light. And how do I feel about this one? That's a good question. Let's get a little shading going here. Ooh, not the right one. That is hatched. Let's do my favorite gauze. Nice little oopsie doodles. Nice grainy. Yeah, I think we need a jawline right here. See, this is another thing. Let's, you know, you don't have to get it just right, just as general. See, you know, you can kind of measure it out. Yeah. I mean, you know, I'd go to these conventions, I'd get all ready, and you know I'm sounding like a grouchy old man, which I guess I am, but a lot of a lot of the people, you know, the fans would show up, and you know, as I mentioned, no interest in local talent at all. You know, they might say something besmirching. You know, sometimes they were just downright rude, which I think, you know, it's like whatever they. I remember some jerk kid said something rude to Jarrell about how he wasn't going to buy his comic anywhere. So he was unprovoked. You know, he's just a young kid who just thought he'd get a laugh at the expense of Jarrell. And Jarrell made a comment back to him. Of course, the kid had run off by that point. It was kind of funny. We made Jarrell. We made sure to say some rude things about the kid to his friend who had stuck around to maybe pass on to him later. But yeah, I remember there's this one guy. I would see him like at every convention, and he asked me if he could sit in the table, the open table next to me, where one of the artists had not showed. I said, "Yeah, man. You know, I thought he was. I think at the time, it was years ago, but I think at the time I thought he was an artist or something." I started telling him about the turnout, talking about the turnout, and at one point I realized this guy really doesn't care about anything I have to say about this convention or the turnout or anything. And I said, why? Wait a minute, why the heck are you sitting there? You know, that's for the art. You're sitting there, and you have no desire. You just don't. I got all my work right here, and you don't. And then it's like it was so funny because he was sitting there just for a place to sit. He took an artist table. I'm like, geez, man, they have those for the artists, and some kids come by dressed up as the Ninja Turtles, and he's like, "Oh, hey, can you get my picture with them?" I'm like, man, he just didn't even care. But as soon as he sees some kids wearing Ninja Turtles outfits, he how's that look? You know, he's like, "Oh man, you know the Ninja Turtles," and I wanted to say, like, you know, those aren't the real Ninja Turtles. Those are some kids dressed up as the Ninja Turtles. So what's sorry, but what's impressive about that? I remember walking past Kevin Eastman at Heroes Con in North Carolina. Thank you, Jarrell and Micah, for that too. I wish I could do that more. I never got the help to do that again. Drives me crazy because it was a great experience. Met Bernie Wrights, and oh yeah, I walked past Kevin Eastman. I was starstruck because you know that he's one of the co-creators of something that became a worldwide phenomenon. You know, that's amazing to me. Some kids dressed up as dressed up as turtles, as opposed to the man who came up with the idea. You know, he could have listened to all the people saying, "This is stupid. Why are you doing this? Get a real job." You know, and obviously, just because you do comics doesn't mean you're going to be the next create the next worldwide phenomenon. But I mean, it just goes to show, man, thank God he did not listen to. And I'm sure there were some of those people saying that, making fun of him for that. I was watching one of my favorite shows, Magnum PI, and there's a part where Magnum finds a Ninja Turtles comic, and I think that's before they got picked up and got really huge. So I mean, they were obviously making a cult buzz before they got picked up. And you know, marketing research does that. The bad news is you really do. You know, if you want to get picked up, you need something to prove that you're going to sell. Or, you know, maybe if an agent can get your property sold to somebody who sees its potential, you know, it's not to say that can't happen. Blah, blah, blah. What am I even talking about? What else do I want to? Yeah, it gets me to take it. Oh yeah, then one time we had these people, and God bless them. I don't mind. I really don't mind. But they're selling Star Wars outfits, and all these kids are coming by, and the Star Wars guys are like right across from my table. And I'm like, you want to sell Star Wars costumes? Fine. You know, it's like when you think about it, you are making money off somebody else's. I mean, you know, maybe you bought the stuff wholesale, so they're getting their money, so you're not ripping the franchise off. Not that I really care one way or the other. I'm not a Star Wars fan anymore, but I mean, you know, all these kids are coming, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's a stormtrooper!" I'm like, "Well, not really. It's just some dude who bought a suit and he's dressed up as a stormtrooper." They're all getting their pictures taken with these Star Wars guys, and this one girl, and I chalk it up to naivete. You know, I didn't really take it personally, but I smirked at it and I took a picture. She had this bag of stuff, and she just plopped it right on top of my books. Incredibly rude, and I kind of chuckled and took a picture of it. You know, I never posted the picture, but I mean, it would have said something like, you know, rude fans so stoked to see, you know, geeks dressed up as stormtroopers plops her shopping bag on top of my books. My table's just a shelf for people to put their shopping bags while they're getting their pictures taken with people dressed up as stormtroopers. I'm just like, ugh, you know. So some of those fans, it's like you try not to get negative about it, but you're like, man, we're actually out here trying, and somebody's just selling costumes. And like I said, I don't have a problem with that, but I mean, you know, it's just it's ironic to a guy who's going to all this trouble to put this stuff out. You know, they don't owe me anything. You know, that I'm not saying I deserve it. I just find it ironic where people's interests lie. And me, I was like Micah, and I guess I still am today. I mean, I'm really fascinated by the artists, how they do it, what they do, what inspired them, all that stuff, you know. And I don't know. Once again, I don't think I'm not saying every fan's got to be that way. I mean, you know, if they're not interested in doing art, they really, you know, why should they care? To meet, you know, small timers like me. But yeah, I'm just running my mouth. But yeah, the guy just still can't help but find it a little teensy bit ironic. It's funny drawing my friends. I wonder if I'm doing a justice or if they're embarrassed about how I'm drawing them. But this gives me an opportunity to how should I put it? Just kind of stretch my legs in territory I don't get to very often, which is getting to do the close up faces and take a little more time on the detail with that. Man, also just saying how the best way to apply shade for dark skin. Why is it? Okay. Let's see. How's that? Ah. Nope. No charcoal rain. There we go. Let's put some highlights in that hair. Something like that. What do you think, Jarrell? Jarrell helped me meet Tony Todd. We'd found him briefly in San Diego. It didn't go too good because he was trying to get the heck out of there, and it was kind of just, I was just like, it was just so quick. It was like, man, we'd been on a mission to find the guy. I'm a huge fan of Tony Todd, but man, thanks to Jarrell, I ended up sitting right next to the guy at Mysticon. That was awesome. Let's take the size down a wee bit and let's see how it looks at a smaller scale. Jarrell looks a little like really wild-eyed and crazy right there. So the question becomes, could I have done this better? The answer is pretty much always yes. It's one thing, no matter what, there's always room for improvement. Obviously, if I was doing this as a day job, I think, it gets to where it just comes more and more naturally to you. And I've been doing door to death enough where I'm at a very comfortable spot. And I do look at my older material and I say, wow, this is really poor quality, and it's kind of too bad. I do regret that when you all buy the first volume, which once again I hope you do, to catch up if you have not yet read it. I think the bad news is you start off with a fairly poorly rendered illustration schematic. I still think back to those days. How I remember the first panel. I just started drawing. You will see the first panel of the first page is abstract monsters. And I didn't know why, and I just said, okay, this is the daydream of this character who's sitting on the beach. And then at some point I decided it was Winston, who had already been in my Charlotte comic, the Charlotte comic that nobody liked. Like 2 people liked it, had some positive words, and not quite enough to, let's see. Nope, that's not going to work. Getting let's try. Okay, good. Now we're not bleeding in there. Oh yeah, I was sitting next to Tony Todd. Fascinating, completely fascinating. I will say the he's got a true presence. He asked everybody if there were any undercover police officers, and he eyeballed me in a very a very friendly, like kind of I'm on to you way. I just took it as, that's an artist's abstract sense of humor. You hear that, you hear he was asking that, you might think like, whoa, what the heck was going on with them? And I was like, I took it as kind of like a joke. Maybe he really meant it. I mean, maybe he's had experience where there are undercover police officers at these things for whatever reason. I can testify that the comic nerds there weren't all sitting around hitting glass pipes or anything. I wouldn't have been there if that was the case. They had that, Jarrell bought my ticket to that thing. Unbelievable. I never heard about the price. He insisted he not tell me, so Jarrell, true friend right there, making that happen. Unbelievable. Great surprise. yeah. Tony Todd eyeballed me. I was looking. I'll say not to toot my own horn. I say that a lot because I do toot my horn a lot. But I was very clean cut and normal looking compared to. I mean, there was a guy there with a pink mohawk who was in a local, I don't know, punk or rockabilly or whatever type of band. Real nice fella, him. And just a lot of people who, forgive me, were probably not in the best of shape. Told jokes that made my jokes seem really good, if you can imagine such a thing. And I think I probably looked a little out of place. Jarrell looks fairly normal. The only thing just being his long hair is the thing that kind of prevents him from looking. I had very short, clean cut hair at the time, so I think in a way I looked really out of place. I don't think I was even wearing a fan T-shirt, just a normal shirt. So I think when he addressed the group and asked if anybody was a undercover police officer. He eyeballed me first. I'm sitting right next to him. He's eyeballing me. He's got this smirk on his face. He said, "You look like the type." And I said, "No, not me." And it was real cool. I don't know that I'll ever. I don't know that the other fans there will ever see this video. I don't think they care about me or anything. I don't think they'll ever come across this. So I feel pretty liberated to say I thought the conversation sucked. Not on Tony Todd's part at all. In fact, I commend him for just kind of rolling with it. But I mean, we ended up started talking about, how to make, and the guy. I mean, like what we're sitting there talking about. All of a sudden, we're talking about how to make your hair stand up. Like what kind of what we used to do the trick, what was available back in the '90s for making mohawks stand up, and they talked about we talked about Tony Todd's films. They were trying to find out about what Marvel or whatever movie he was involved in. I don't care about Marvel. I don't like superhero stuff. I became a fan when I saw the Tom Savini's remake of Night of the Living Dead. And he was incredible in that, as he is in everything he does. Of course, later on he went on to be Candyman. Yeah, I mean, he never seemed to be getting uptight when the conversation was getting far and away from why we were there to talk to Tony Todd and to learn about his craft. And at one point, I said, I said it was the remake of Night of the Living Dead is what introduced me to Tony Todd's intensity. And he says, and humanity. And I said, yes, and humanity. And I thought there was one moment where we were talking about his craft. And of course, he talked a great deal about what he'd been up to. So that was cool. I don't want to sound so bitter. It was a nice crowd. It was funny how I ended up sitting directly next to him. I had not meant for that. I just took the nearest chair, and what he knows. And then it was ironic because I thought later, I'll bet the other fans hated me. Why does he get to sit next to Tony Todd? The next day I went there with my daughter. I can rarely get any help watching my daughter, but I took her there the next day, and she got so scared. She was still really uptight. I mean, she was so upset that I took her in there. And I tried to keep it under. She finally mellowed out. She was real shy of Jarrell for a minute, and then she warmed up to him, and we bumped in amazing, and I mean, I'm almost 40. So, I mean, I don't like really talking like a fanboy. I think I'm a little too old to talk like this, but maybe I'm not. I mean, I don't know. But to be completely sincere here, we bumped into Tony walking through the hall with two of his, I guess escorts, you might say. People showing two friends showing him around. Yeah, wild. And the day before we had sat in and gotten to talk to him and meet him, we saw him walking through the hall. It's just wild. It's like the presence of Tony Todd walking into this hotel, this Holiday Inn. It's like all of a sudden we just see it. There's Tony Todd, all 7 feet of him, walking down the way, talking on his cell phone. Said, "Yeah, they got me set up in, yeah, it's a pretty nice room." Blah blah blah. It's like, whoa. You're just kind of watching Tony Todd, hearing him talk on the phone. There's something incredible about that. This guy you've admired in film, and oh yeah. So I mean, you're still feeling pretty daggone starstruck. I mean, not so much that I didn't become a babbling idiot. Like I've been known to when I meet people who I'm amazed by, who I'm a big fan for. But yeah, it was the next day. I'm walking with Jarrell and my daughter back into the convention. Emily has mellowed out a little bit, and he saw us. He said, "Hey guys, where y'all going, or what y'all doing?" And later on, Jarrell said it. He said, "Man, he's just walking through the hall, and he stops to like talk to us and ask us what we're up to." I said, "Yeah, that is really something." I mean, just like, "What's up, guy?" It was cool. It was really nice of him. It's just cool to be recognized by the guy. You just assume, he's done his part. He was paid to come and greet his fans in that get to meet Tony Todd thing, or whatever you want to call it. It was cool. He gave us a holler. I gave him a couple copies. I gave him the advanced copies of Mossy Rock, an old Mossy Rock, our movie, without great hope that he was going to make time to watch, cheesy independent films by us. But it was cool to place him into his hand. He was real nice to my daughter. He said, "Hey, how you doing?" I made a joke as we were departing. I said she doesn't know you yet, but I'll show her Candyman when I get home. I was, of course, joking. Candyman is terrifying, bloody, gory. So they laughed at that. The women walking with them they all had a little chuckle, I think. Is really cool. Being with my daughter, I think I would have done some panels. I'm usually very shy about doing panels. I don't want to do them. I don't like talking in front of people. I'm very nervous and uptight about that. But once I warm up, it's just like I'm just like my daughter. Once I chill out, I'm like, okay, we're okay. Stop freaking out a little bit. But I mean, just to dump me into that, or to schedule it when it's spontaneous. I've been in situations where I spontaneously am given the task of addressing a large crowd of people. I did that once for a costume contest and carried it pretty well, I think. But if someone says you are going to do this, that's when I just lose my cool, because I start just envisioning me messing up, and that's exactly what happens. So I won't do that formally. But I'd gotten relaxed to the point I was happy to talk to people there about the craft. We'd filmed. That was the screening of our film. Our films, yeah, we were showing our films at the same convention. First one had a decent turnout, if you will. The second one, not so much. But there were, I will say, at least more people than just the nice woman who putting it on, and Jarrell and I. There were other people who witnessed it. Actually, I watched Anthropophagus by Joe D'Amato. I was watching the special features where George Eastman, or Luigi, I forget how to pronounce his real last name, but he has the pseudonym George Eastman, as an Italian veteran of horror and spaghetti westerns. He said when they premiered Anthropophagus, there were 4 people in the audience. I think he said it was 2 people from the production, he and perhaps Joe, and some couple. And once they got to a certain scene, the notorious scene that the film is famous for, that got cut until years later for its DVD release, the trashiest, most disgusting, god awful scene. I'm not going to say what, but it was made with a rabbit from the butcher shop. I was going to say that much. So once they got to that scene, the couple walked out, and it was just the 2 people, him and the other person from the movie production, and he was fine with that. I said, if you can just kind of laugh about that situation, I can be okay with the small turnout. We had like a midnight showing, and it was Sean is the woman's name, and she was very kind, and she was even apologetic that they had to bump up my time slot. I said, "You guys are playing my movie, and you probably got better stuff to play than mine." Well, maybe, I don't know. Still fairly proud of my movies. I said, "Not at all. Of course I understood, but having a midnight showing, not going to get a very good turnout." Okay, so how are we looking on Bernie here? We've gone on 35 minutes. I'm doing okay for time. I think this is the only panel I'm going to do tonight. I've really been running my mouth, and that's just how it goes. It's I mean, I guess that's part of what I'm doing here. That was I decided from the beginning I was gonna just run my mouth and do this very candid. And because I don't feel because this is the only panel I really want to do today, and maybe I'll start one more panel, and then the rest I'm definitely gonna do tonight. Emily has dance class, and I usually get to work on art while I'm in the lobby. There's a monitor I can watch my daughter dance, and I can draw. So when they're taking a little break, I'll look up, watch my daughter dance, and when they're in between, they're taking a break, I just look back down at my tablet and keep on drawing. And today marks the day that the final page will be illustrated. Then, of course, I have to do the lettering. Thought about making a little video for that. So, but unless that becomes very convenient to do, I'm gonna just let you all. If you want to learn about that, I'm sure there's tons of videos on that. I use the highlighter. I fill in the stroke in Adobe Photoshop and just type in the text. I think I'm using like MV Boley text right now. I really like it. If you're wondering which one I'm using for Door to Death, I used to use an original Lee Davis font I created. Just have my own font, and these days I'm using. I think it's MV Boley. I like how the periods are like in the center rather than at the foot of the letter. I don't know why. It's just unique. It's a little subconscious though. It doesn't really stand out. Still read it just fine. It's got a sleek and fitting feel to that text. But if you want advice on how to learn the right size for your font, import another comic page from a professional comic and just line up your letter size next to that. I think mine is slightly bigger than what you find in your standard mainstream comics that you find at the shops. How are we looking, guys? Are you bored yet? There's this. What is that Tony Todd? I'm about to queue up this other Tony Todd movie. Actually, yeah, it was advertised by Shriek Show, who released a Del Mato's film. What is it called? Oh man! All right. Well, Tony, I don't know what's going on, but it takes place in a women's prison, and Tony Todd has like long dreadlocks. I don't know if he's like the ghost of a killer or what, but I read the reviews, and apparently this is chock full of S&V. So another awesome kind of, I guess you'd call it an exploitation flick. Once again, shamelessly lower the eyebrow for some S&V and TNA. And icing on and I think the top selling point, of course, is having the great Tony Todd appear in this. So yes, once again, big fan of the man as the actor. Everyone else knows him from the other stuff he did. I watch his horror material, but it's always cool when he showed up in Psych. I was watching Psych for a little bit there, and James Roday and what's his friend actor's name? That funny guy. They did that horror movie together called Gravy. I got the Blu-ray of that. It's pretty cool. But yeah, they had the best guest actors in that show. And they did all these homages to their favorite, 80s movies. I love the one when they did the Friday the 13th homage. That was because they filmed, the cinematography was like spot on, perfect Friday the 13th homage. Just made that show great. And me running my mouth and doing this all subconsciously because there's no pressure on me to hurry the heck up. I am, of course, spending a lot of extra time filling in these fine details. That's where you get to where you're not as in much of a rush. You're getting close to the end, and you just kind of relax, and you end up doing a lot of this stuff. Now, I say you, but I mean me. So I do it. Maybe you're better at staying on the ball. Let's take that. I'm a clean shave, mostly. Where are we? Let's do the background. Do we have any background over here? Got that wee bit. I don't think we need to worry too much about that. I'm doing a very light background here. I don't want to. I want the focus being on the expressions. Let's take it down to 22 size. There we go. We just got the whole thing right in there. Man, I'm feeling drowsy again. I really should do some working out or something like that. Okay, a little lamp right there. This gonna do a very kind of quick. I'm liking this scratchy thing. I did the scratchy background for the previous page. When you look inside and you see the living room and kitchen and the hallway behind them as they're looking out the window. They're congregating toward the window to see what's going on. You know, what's going on. Michael, again, the name of Micah is a fictional character in this mythology. But yeah, I used a kind of real scratchy technique for the background. You know, and when I say scratchy, I mean just not very involved. Just very sketchy. How about that? That's a little better. Very sketchbook, almost like I'm doing the pencil art. Ooh, didn't mean to do that. I meant to get that. And it has a nice effect. And you're doing stuff really quick, and you end up doing a lot of these little squiggles, and you think it's going to look messy, but you know, if you got a good handle on it, or at least a decent handle on it, you know what you're doing. You can make it work. And that's what I'm saying. Like a lot when I'm doing the forest and the trees, you know, I used to just get hung up on one specific style, and I realized, you know, you just kind of play it by ear and make go with your gut. It's almost like doing an abstract painting, you know. I mean, do it one way if you're not really used to it, but then you get more and more used to it. And is that too dark? That's way too dark. You'll just develop these instincts. You know, so I'm drawing the trees one way, and then I'm drawing them another way in the foreground. Just not sticking with one specific style, just what feels most natural at the moment. And it all kind of, you'll find it just all kind of comes together. It's a very subconscious thing, you know. I'm not thinking a whole lot about what I'm doing. It's not meticulously planned. And once again, that's why I say I am kind of a chaotic artist. I'm very abstract, and I'm very far from anything mathematical. And my art suffers a little bit from that, but I think in the way it evolves to gain its own foothold with its own style. You know, you do this stuff long enough, and you know, no matter how you approach it, you'll find a way to make it work for you at least. It might not work for other people, and for sure the perspective. If any perspective Nazis look at my stuff, they will say, "Ugh," you know. But I think the way I approach it is it doesn't give you the impression that we're going that route, you know. And with Charlotte, you know, back then even more, I made the houses very melty and drippy, you know, kind of crooked, not to the point that it felt like you know, I was kind of wanted to flavor Tim Burton a little bit, but not to the point that if it was adapted, it would look like Nightmare Before Christmas, you know, to the point where you could still see this become a live action film. That's been my approach for the horror comics, not the more cartoonish comics that I've done in the past. Okay, let's try something totally random. Give this light gray right there. I'm getting some camera wobble. I apologize about that. I feel very tired, and I don't know why. I thought let's give some rays here. And okay, so I gave it a little gray to make some rays, and then put some little white over it. That just gives it this real subtle kind of shine. Wouldn't that be something? I wonder what this would be like. If this is the window right there, what if... I'm going to try this. I'm not sure if I'm going to like this. What if this is the beach? This is the ocean. Very... Sorry, you can't see that. The only way I can get my hand to it. You'll see what I'm doing. Just filling in. I wonder. Okay, so you got beach in the horizon off here. stuff down there. And let's go back to white. The gauze, obscure it a little bit so it's very light. Some streaks of reflection on the window pane. Not to go beyond the border of the window frame. How about some little specks on the window? See, this is just where I don't have to do any of this. I mean, you can pull these things off, but I mean, you know, if you just feel so inclined, you can sit there and do little things like this. They're probably insignificant and probably only prove to offer a little subconscious contrast. Just fill in some of this space. Something neat. Something people aren't going to pay too much attention to, but might kind of sort of have a little impact. Maybe. I wonder if I should put. If I have so much. Now I'm getting a little uptight. I should put this smaller pane right there. Why not? Yeah, I like that. Oopsie doodles. What time is it? 10:30. I might even get some time to work out. A little white highlights and this kind of murky wall there. Folks, I think we might be about done. Once again, I'm probably spending way too much time on this anyway. So thanks if you stuck around. Baby, 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 baby. Drell, I really hope you don't hold it against me if I drew you a little. Drell typically has he's got a good, very like deeply emotional look he conjures up, which I guess comes natural to him. He is an artist, and we often feel anxiety. Our minds are constantly flaring off. And it really came in handy when I cast him as the troubled novelist who had just found some degree of fame, and his agent's asking him to do a lot of stuff he doesn't want to do. I played the agent. You're welcome. Yeah, so maybe this scared look I'm giving him isn't such a bad thing. Probably going to laugh. He's probably going to give me a hard time about this later. Okay, I think we're almost done here. I've gone on 47 minutes. That's just a long time for this one panel. So let me do a little bit more. Okay, let's bring up the scale just a wee bit. Just give you a brief overview of where this is going to go. This is the last page. Thank you for watching my videos. I hope you buy the comic. You know, you'll have some insight. You'll have seen the creation. This is the last panel. So this is a little bit of a spoiler, but here you go. Here comes the egg. We're going to do this going down to the ocean. You've seen me draw ocean. We're not missing a whole lot here. This is going to be my pain. I'm saving this for later. This is the remains of the hive being met by the egg cast off, which we see in the dream vision. The dream vision is lifted from the same scenario that happens at the end of Broken Vein, which you can hear on audio at gaki.bandcamp.com. Still up for free as I write this. Will likely remain that way. At first, I thought it was just going to be a limited time. I'm just leaving it for free because I'm a nice guy and I'm not famous, and I want you to hear it. Yeah, you can get the Kindle too. They have the voice reader. I think that's real awesome. If you get the audio, I actually have a PDF bonus with all the features from the book, including the map and the character designs, cover art. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this one I'm saving for later. So you already know now. You'll see the finished product when you get the comic, because I'm sure you will. Going down to the ocean. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just sitting here like I'm already getting tired of this. Yeah, this is we're getting to a good place to stop. I can save the rest for later today. Okay, so you know what? Actually, this is probably a bad idea too. Just me doing this now. No. It's just ocean. I got to do. You know, I'm actually at. No. This is gonna be fun. What am I saying? Let's have fun with this. You've noticed when I do the ocean, I have to sit there and do horizontal lines back and forth and back and forth. And doing the video impairs me because I don't want to tilt it out of your way, at least much. I finally gave up, and on previous video, I just tilted it because I was having so much trouble. This is going to be a little more curves because, as you can see here, we have a the wave coming in to meet the beach. Oh man, and that might not even be so great. Because I'm thinking it's got to get into the deeper area of the ocean. It looks like it's headed toward the waves. You know what? I got a good idea to fix that though. Let's fill it like that. Come on, Lee, don't screw this up. Okay, let's erase. See, I have it coming down, and the way it looks like its trajectory is going to have it hitting the hitting the beach basically, and that's not good. So I'm going to give it some lines going this way that it's going out deeper toward the deeper end of the ocean. Does that sound good to you? That's what I thought. I'm so funny. Now I've kind of impaired myself because I can't do the highlight tool because I've already see, I made this a little more challenging for me and a little more annoying for you with my little. You know what? Who cares? Because you know it's just a sphere. I can correct this. What I was going to say is I could highlight this and do just do the lines back and forth without worrying about crossing through this. But I'm just going to run the eraser through there anyway. Why not? Okay, so we have the ocean water coming into the beach, and now I'm going to go to this secondary. I'm going to get this light gray tone. Let's just give it a little. We're just texturizing basically. And I've gotten to the point, I used to be kind of intimidated, I think, once by doing water, and I think I've just done it so much that I've learned to like doing it. I don't think, I'm telling you, most of these artists do this stuff in they just use some simple lines and just gray tone it. And I would do that. I mean, maybe I'll do that more often. I think if I was making more pages at a faster rate, I would find quicker ways to do this. Also, I just sometimes I just feel the impulse to give texture like this. It works for me. I like the effect. See that you get this, and it makes this. It's kind of like a highlighter that just kind of lightens up the black strokes behind it, and just gives the texture just this rolling water feel. At least to me. Maybe you disagree. So let's a little more of this. Let's give some white highlights. I like doing the sun's reflection on the horizon. In this case, this is not the horizon, so let's just give it a little. Let's see how this looks. See, sometimes I experiment. Nope, I'm not liking that. I was doing little U's to make the splash, but that doesn't really look too good. Maybe I can put a little. It seems like a soft current here. Maybe I can put a little ocean spray. Why don't we try that? See how that looks. 10:34, not too bad. Sorry, looking at the time here. Boy, this stuff wears me out. I don't know. I felt pretty on the ball. Now I'm just feeling really tired. Okay, let's take the gauze. Let's give the beach some texture. Once again, if you feel you got too dark, just take some white, and you can also kind of obscure a little bit. You can use this on the ocean as well. There we are. Yeah, this I often use for, go figure, blood spatter. Let's see how it looks. Look at that. Little ocean spray. Do you think? Or even sparkle. It could be interpreted as the sun glistening off. I'm a little troubled. I thought this egg should be coming through at nighttime. But I decided let's just assume that it can travel in the day. Most of my monsters don't come out at night. I did the old thing where sunlight is toxic to them from the dark dimension they come from, and blah blah blah. I said we're gonna, there's monsters that can bend the rules. Some of them come out in daylight, and I said let's say this egg is capable of traveling in the day. And how that happened. Originally, I thought the time frame. I said everything's been happening in a very short. All this has happened in the period of. I think what's amazing about this issue. Looking back on it, everything has happened in probably approximately 6 hours, and I think that is really cool. I love when something takes place in that short of a time period. So for that reason, because we were starting off early morning, I now decided it's midday, and as I was drawing the page yesterday, I forgot to give a night sky over the ocean, and I really liked how it looked, and I liked the idea more of them all kind of waking up late in the day from whatever, partying or whatever they're up to. Gerald, the character of Gerald, has probably been working on his comic series. Probably Michael, he's probably working on it too, and of course the character of Bernie is probably just getting drunk. I just got a text too. Nope, that looks dirty. Let's okay. Yeah. Nice. Okay. All right, let's do this egg of darkness. The what do you call it? The teaser on the back of the book Broken Vein says the eggs of darkness have hatched, and that is taken from a death metal album I tried to make about 10 years ago, and it didn't work out. I was having a lot of trouble. I was having tons of trouble making my comics and death metal back then. I was in for the longest time, boy was I out of it. Really depressed back then. Not my fault. I'm so involved in this, and okay, what is this? Some Blue Cross junk mail. I think this is very Lovecraftian. This chaotic mass, which is like an egg that's going to germinate with the remains of the hive beneath, open the door, give it life, all this cool stuff. And this chaotic ball is nothing but these eyes that form at the surface. Very Lovecraftian. I read this in a Lovecraft. And I don't know if I borrowed it or I just it's a lot of things come naturally to me that just identify with this same kind of mode. I always thought I was drawn toward the Lovecraftian things because it really identified with how I like to create. But I said, what if the eyes transform into hungry mouths? I said it makes sense that these eyes just form on the surface to see. At the same time, they can also devour. It is chaotic. But I do realize I'm almost positive that is like Shub-Niggurath or something from Lovecraft mythos. I'm fine with that. If that was just accidentally an idea I lifted, then I mean a lot of people who do horror have no problem to say they were inspired by Lovecraft. I was, but as I've often said, I did stuff that was like Lovecraft before I knew Lovecraft, I only checked Lovecraft after like the 8 millionth person referenced him. I think probably Dario Argento, and I'd seen Fangoria articles mentioning him. All this, H.P. Lovecraft's The Reanimator, great movie from my childhood. Saw it edited on DC20, channel DC20 when I was a kid. Yeah, it's like you keep on hearing Lovecraft. Finally start reading them, I'm like, yep, this guy's awesome. That's awesome stuff. Yeah, the eyes turning into mouths. I mean, I really don't know what to tell you if that was subconsciously lifted or just I invented something very similar. That sounds very arrogant to me, but I swear I was doing stuff just like this when I was a kid. Crazy alien, supernatural / extraterrestrial, whatever. Okay, these trailing lines or tentacles or whatever to indicate it is, and maybe I wonder, let's try something. Let's get a little more adventurous. Let's try some lines trailing all the way up here. Does that, and if they don't look right, I want them to look like they're trailing from above, give them some dimension. Maybe we can give them, texturize them a little bit. It doesn't look, it's a little confusing, and I think I'm going to leave them because I like the way they look, but it's almost like, it looks like an umbilical cord coming out here. But what the heck, let's just leave it. You might be like, what is that thing? What's it attached to? That might throw people off, but I'm just going to take that chance. These lines. His name's Stephen Gamble, the illustrator from Dark Stories. God. What? Tales to Tell in the Dark. Why can't I remember? My brain is not functioning at all. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Stephen Gamble, was he the illustrator or the author? Oh, anyway, the illustrations in that book are timeless and beloved by horror and death metal fans primarily to this day. Recreated in some, what is it? Nightmare Soup is a kind of a, I don't want to say a knockoff, but heavily inspired by the illustration style in just those books. So to do an homage book series was a very cool idea for whoever is doing that. Yeah, those illustrations were awesome. These little gnarly little lines remind me very much of that style. He'd have a lot of that. We've gone on a while. This has been an hour. Well, there you go. There's my egg. I've given enough TLC to this panel. Probably more than needed, but because, this is the last one I was going to do, and this will be the last video, most definitely. I can't imagine I'm not going to have the rest of this done before the day's out, and this will be my last chance for the rest of the day to videotape it. So that's it. I have not hit save for a while. That's a big no-no. Always save your work frequently if you don't trust your computer to not have a hiccup. This one never does, but I'd hate to lose this much work. It's never a fun feeling when that happens. So there you have it. I'm gonna call it a day. Oh my gosh, man. So tired. I gotta get with it. So yeah, thanks again for sticking around. Glad we had this one more video to hang out. Okay. Alright. Let's see if I can do some exercise and get my brain functioning. Alright. God bless y'all. Take care. Bye-bye. Still recording. Why? I swear I hit that button. It's like, okay. It always expects me to hit it twice. Alright, bye-bye.
Door to Death, Volume 1, Revived Hive, collecting the first 5 issues of Door to Death in the single Charlotte comic. Oh man, it's so brutal, it's gonna make you puke blood all over the place. Totally blood puking, awesome, nasty, so savage. Just kill yourself. It smells like crap. It's so awesome. It'll make your girlfriend spray love sauce all over the walls, and then you'll go crazy. Pick up a copy for your nephew. He'll think you're the coolest uncle ever. Kill me, even though no one ever calls you. You're still loved. Never give up hope.